Arts and Sciences.
by Celestine Trinidad. What are you doing here?
I couldn't look at him. I couldn't. I buried my head in my hands, as if my hands could make me invisible, which I know it couldn't. Why, of all places, did he have to come here? This was supposed to be my hiding place, my sanctuary. This was the place where no one else could see me fail, again and again. But he was here.
Marikit?
He said my name again. He was now in front of me, and from how I could feel his breath upon my ear, I gathered he was leaning down towards me. I buried my head deeper, covering my ears.
Baby ka?
His voice was so low, now it was almost a whisper.
What's wrong?
I tried to speak, but all that came out was a sort of whimper. Great, Mary. You are just about the most pathetic girl in the universe, because the only time you ever cried in front of everyone, it had to be in front of your biggest rival. I wish the ground I was sitting on would just open me up and swallow me whole. He didn't say anything more. I heard a rustling from the ground a few feet away from me, so I looked up. DJ had picked up the kite from the ground and was looking at it thoughtfully. Glancing at the benches and seeing my materials there, he walked towards it and went straight to work. Within minutes, he had already fashioned a piece of Japanese paper onto a new kite tail. Why? I managed to croak out. He gave me the briefest of glances before getting back to his work. I watched him, still unable to say anything. He was wearing a jersey, shorts, and rubber shoes, like he had been out and about to go just for a run, but here he was helping me instead. Why? I finally spoke, and this time my words came out clearer. Why are you helping me? Don't you want to win against me? He looked at me.
Not like this, Angel.
I walked over to him and sat down beside him, still confused. It was a bit strange because DJ remained quiet as he worked on my kite, speaking every now and then to explain to me why he thought the kite didn't fly.
It has to be at the perfect angle.
He said,
The wind won't pick it up otherwise.
just that. No gloating, no bragging, no declaring that he was going to beat me. He looked so serious and focused on the kite he was trying to repair. I was wondering if he hadn't been kidnapped by aliens and replaced with this weird surrogate. We worked in silence for some time until he spoke.
What happened, Angel?
I don't know, I said. My calculations were correct. My kite should have been able to fly, but it didn't.
Not about the kite.
He cut in gently.
I meant in school.
His frown deepened, and his eyes now took on this weird, misty look, like he was somehow miles away.
You were the Marikit Angeles.
He said,
In Iloilo and the rest of our region, everyone spoke your name in hushed tones. Not only because of your family, but because of you. Everyone was afraid of going against you during the contests because they knew you were going to win anyway.
Well, except for you, I interjected. He grinned a little, but it seemed half-hearted.
I never backed down from a challenge. In fact, I live because of them.
His smile faded.
But really, Angel, when we came to NAPSI, something happened
He hesitated and swallowed before he continued.
to you.
I stared at him, my eyes wide. Nothing happened. My fist clenched. Unconsciously, there it was again, that earnest expression in his eyes. Like, like he really wanted to know, like maybe he just cared about me. It's just, I began, and my throat went dry. He nodded and waited for me to continue, saying nothing else. I thought it was smart, I whispered to the ground, but it wasn't. I thought he was going to say something like, no,
No,
that's not true. Or,
What
what
are
are
you
you talking
talking about?
about?
Of course you're smart.
My mother had told me that when I tried to tell her. For some reason, it never made me feel any better. But he said nothing like that, and he actually nodded.
We all feel that when we get here, right?
He said,
It's like we're all big fish back home, but here we realize where we came from really was just a small pond, and we're actually small fish compared to all the bigger fish here.
Yes, so many other people here are so much smarter than I am, I said. And it's not that I need to be the best. I mean, sure, when we were in elementary, I really wanted to beat you. And when you beat me, that was okay. He kept his gaze at me, his dark eyes seeming to see through the smile I had forced on my face to keep from crying again.
It's not just that for you, isn't it?
He asked.
You realizing other people were smarter than you. Something else happened. Something worse.
I took a deep breath. How could he know? Yes, I mean, it's okay if I was only letting down myself. I let down other people too.
Your family?
No, not them, I said. I know you may have probably heard how absolutely brilliant they are. It's not that though. Mama and my siblings never made me feel like they expected me to do better, even now when I was no longer the best in school. I looked up and almost fell over in surprise if I hadn't stopped myself. I hadn't heard him, but he had leaned closer, so close that his face was almost inches from mine.
Who was it then?
He murmured. His voice was so soft, like the whisper of the breeze through the trees that surrounded us, cooling my skin. I had a friend once, I said, after a long moment of silence, until she wasn't anymore. Her name was Ruby, Ruby Villasenda. She was my classmate in seventh grade, and I thought we were friends the moment she sat beside me in first period. She asked me about Manong Maki, whom she had been her celebrity class crush since his Escuela days. Then Manang May, whom she said she was rooting for in the Lakambini ng Pilipinas pageant. And then we got to talking about our elementary school days. DJ listened to everything that I said quietly, never interrupting, never saying a word. I looked up at him every now and then and saw flashes of emotion on his face: surprise, horror, indignation, and in the end, he got this strange, serious, and thoughtful look in his eyes. I wasn't really sure what it meant,
Ruby Villasenda.
he said when I finished telling him my story.
You know, she was my classmate in grade 9. Did you hear that she got suspended that year?
I heard that, yes, I said. It wasn't really clear why, though,
It was for cheating.
he said.
They caught her copying off Neil's paper in a test in chemistry.
He shook his head.
Actually, she'd been doing that for an entire semester before Miss Fernandez caught her. Neil and I suspected something because she kept wanting to sit beside him, but he said we should give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she was just being friendly. And then she got caught.
Oh, I didn't know that,
Yeah.
he said.
So I think she really just wanted to use you, too. And when she thought you could no longer be of use to her, she bailed. You know, you're better off without someone like her as a friend.
But it doesn't change anything, I said. What she made me realize was true. I'm still not good enough. He didn't say anything again. We worked in silence for several moments, with only the sound of our scissors cutting through paper mixing with the sounds of the birds around us.
I'm sorry.
He said, suddenly breaking the silence. I looked up at him, blinking. What are you sorry for?
About what she did.
He said.
About how she made you feel.
It's not, I shook my head. It's not your fault. And she wasn't wrong. I really wasn't the best at anything, even sports, apparently.
But that's the thing.
His right hand now clenched around the scissors he was holding.
You're not supposed to be. I mean, sure, it's great to be better than someone, but there will always be someone better than you. Like me.
He added with a smirk that had me rolling my eyes at him.
But you don't have to be better than everyone.
He went on with a shrug.
You only have to be the best version of you.
He looked straight into my eyes.
And right now, you're already doing a pretty good job at that.
He smiled, then, and it was kind of the sincere, open smile that was different from his usual smirk. It was the same smile that had caused me to lose our table tennis match. He reached forward. My heart raced. I thought for a moment he was going to reach for my hand, but he reached for the kite beside it instead. I don't know why that gave me a sudden feeling of disappointment.
Ready to fly the kite, Angel?
Hearts and Sciences.
By Celestine Trinidad.